From the hot deserts of Arabia to the busy cities of today, people have always wanted to show their respect for God. Come with us as we explore some of the most amazing religious buildings ever made. They show how strong faith can be and how skilled people are at building. All over the world, these huge buildings stand like guards of history. Their tall towers and echoing halls whisper stories of old empires and the strong beliefs that shaped our world. Get ready to be amazed by how big and grand these buildings are. We'll look closely at their designs, learn their interesting stories, and see why they are so important to millions of people. Welcome to our trip to the top 10 religious buildings around the world. Our trip starts in Rome, a city full of history and faith. Here we find the amazing St. Peter's Basilica. Its huge dome, a masterpiece of Renaissance engineering, rises above Vatican City, calling to people from far away. Step inside, and you'll see beautiful marble, gold, and amazing art everywhere. Light shines through colorful glass windows, lighting up masterpieces like Michelangelo's Pieta, a sad sculpture of Mary holding Jesus after he died. Under the high arches and colorful mosaics are the tombs of popes, saints, and emperors. Their stories are forever connected to this holy place. St. Peter's Basilica is more than just a church. It shows how strong the Catholic faith is and gives hope to millions of people. Standing in St. Peter's Square with people from all over the world, you feel small and amazed by such strong faith and a grand building. We now go to Paris, where the famous Notre Dame Cathedral sits beside the Seine River. This beautiful Gothic building, with its tall points, detailed front, and amazing stained glass windows, has amazed people for many years. Notre Dame has seen French history unfold, from kings being crowned to big parties and even difficult times. Step inside, and you are surrounded by a soft light from the rose windows. Their bright colors show stories from the Bible. Made famous by Victor Hugo's book, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, this cathedral shows how strong humans can be. The recent fire reminds us that these special places can be hurt. But even as people fix it, Notre Dame remains a symbol of hope. Its beauty shows how creative people are and how strong faith can be. Our trip now takes us to Mecca, the holy city of Islam. Here, the Masjid al-Haram, the Great Mosque, is a symbol of faith for more than 1 billion Muslims. In its big courtyard, many people gather around the Kaaba, the most holy place in Islam. It's a simple cube covered in black cloth. 5 times a day, people of all backgrounds pray facing the Kaaba. Their prayers echo across the mosque's marble courtyards. During the Hajj, the yearly trip to Mecca, millions of Muslims from all over the world come here, dressed in simple white clothes to show they are equal before God. It's an amazing show of faith, showing how belief can bring people together. To stand among the worshippers at Masjid al-Haram is to see faith at its strongest. As the sun sets over the mosque, you can feel the peace and quiet in this holy place. We go now to Barcelona, Spain, where an amazing building stands tall. It shows the incredible imagination of Antoni Gaudí. The Sagrada Familia, Gaudí's most famous work, is like a beautiful song made of stone. It mixes Gothic style with Art Nouveau details. It's a basilica unlike any other. Its tall towers, like plants reaching for the sky, are easy to see in Barcelona. Its detailed front, covered with Bible stories and imaginary creatures, makes you think and feel amazed. Step inside and you'll see a rainbow of light and color. Light shines through colorful glass windows, making the tall columns glow. Even though it's not finished, the Sagrada Familia shows how brilliant Gaudí was and how strong his faith was. When we look at all the details and how big it is, we feel amazed by what people can imagine. Our adventure now takes us to Istanbul, where Europe and Asia meet. Here, looking over the busy streets and the Bosphorus Strait, is the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, known as the Blue Mosque. It's a beautiful Ottoman building and shows how great Islamic art can be. 6 tall, thin towers reach for the sky. They look amazing next to the mosque's big central dome, covered with beautiful writing and patterns. Over 20,000 handmade blue and turquoise tiles cover the walls. Their flower and geometric patterns create a beautiful show of color and light. Sunlight shines through many colorful glass windows, making the mosque's inside glow with a peaceful light. The Blue Mosque shows how art and faith can work together beautifully like they did in the Ottoman Empire. Standing inside the Blue Mosque, hearing the prayers and seeing the beautiful tiles, we remember that art can bring people from different cultures and religions together. We now go back to Istanbul, to a building that has seen empires come and go. It shows how history changes and how strong faith can be. Hagia Sophia, once a Christian church, then a Muslim mosque, and now a museum, is a special symbol of different cultures sharing a place. Its huge dome, an amazing example of Byzantine engineering, seems to float above the city. Step inside and you'll see amazing mosaics, marble columns, and tall arches. They show how skilled the builders of two great empires were. Look up at the big dome with its colorful mosaics of Christ Pantocrator, and you feel like you're back in the golden age of Constantinople. But look around, and you'll also see its Islamic history in the beautiful Arabic writing on the walls and the mihrab that shows the direction of Mecca for prayer. Hagia Sophia reminds us that history is complicated, made up of many different stories that all create human civilization. Our trip now takes us to Punjab, India, to Amritsar. Here, a shining building sits in the middle of the Amrit Sarovar, the pool of nectar. The Harmandir Sahib, also called the Golden Temple, is the most holy place for Sikhs. It shows how important equality, service, and spiritual understanding are to their faith. Its gold-covered walls reflect the sunlight, making it look like it's shimmering on the water. It's a beautiful and peaceful sight. Inside the Golden Temple, the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy book, sits on a raised platform. It is treated like a living guru. All day, musicians sing from the book, filling the air with a feeling of devotion. Langar, a free kitchen, gives food to thousands of people every day, no matter their religion or background. This shows the Sikh idea of seva, helping others without expecting anything in return. Seeing the faith, service, and devotion at the Golden Temple reminds us that religion can inspire kindness and compassion. We now go to Yangon, Myanmar, where a golden building reaches for the sky. Its shine can be seen from far away. This is the Shwedagon Pagoda, the most holy Buddhist place in Myanmar. It shows how strong devotion can be and is a beautiful example of Burmese Buddhist architecture. People say the pagoda holds strands of the Buddha's hair, making it a special place for Buddhists for over 2,500 years. Its tall central stupa, covered in gold and precious stones, rises above the city. It's a dazzling display of art and faith. As the sun sets, people from all walks of life come to pray. They light incense, offer flowers, and walk around the stupa. The Shwedagon Pagoda is more than just a place to worship. It shows how strong faith can be and how much it affects people's lives. Our exploration of holy places now takes us to Java, Indonesia. Here, an ancient wonder rises from the jungle. Borobudur, the world's biggest Buddhist temple, is an amazing example of architecture from the 9th century. Its detailed carvings and tall stupas tell stories of enlightenment and spiritual awakening. This huge stone mandala, built without any cement, sits on a hill overlooking green rice fields and volcanoes. It shows how skilled the ancient Javanese people were at building. As we walk up its terraces, covered with carvings showing the Buddha's life and Buddhist stories, we feel like we are on a journey to enlightenment. Each level of Borobudur shows a different step on the path to nirvana, from the world of desires to the world of pure consciousness. At the top, we see 72 bell-shaped stupas, each with a statue of the Buddha inside. The statue's hand positions, called mudras, symbolize different parts of his teachings. Borobudur shows how strong the human spirit is and how we can create beautiful and spiritual places. Our last stop is London, at a place where history, faith, and national identity come together. Westminster Abbey, a beautiful Gothic building, shows how strong tradition can be. It's where kings and queens have been crowned, poets have been buried, and a nation's story is told in stone. Its tall towers, detailed carvings, and stained glass windows have seen hundreds of years of British history, from royal weddings to sad funerals and even the bombing during World War II. Step inside, and you feel the history and grandeur. You are surrounded by the tombs of kings, queens, poets, scientists, and important leaders. Their stories are part of this holy place. Westminster Abbey is more than just a church. It's a place where a nation's memories are kept, where the past comes alive. It reminds us how strong tradition is and how history changes. Standing in Westminster Abbey, we hear echoes of coronations and think about famous writers. We see how a place can be connected to who we are. As our trip ends, we feel amazed by how strong faith and creativity can be. These buildings, each special in its own way, show that people always want to connect with something bigger than themselves. From the tall towers of Gothic cathedrals to the detailed carvings of ancient temples, these buildings show the hopes and dreams of many generations. May these amazing buildings continue to inspire us, reminding us how imaginative people are and how powerful faith can be. Thank you for joining us on this trip to some of the most amazing religious buildings in the world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting documentaries.